I was a down and outer. And I come from that. And coming from that lifestyle, I just really see what Jesus Christ can do, the difference he can make, because he's made such a difference in my life. I grew up rejected and out of place. I was molested by my brother when I was a young child, and went to jail when I was 16. It's the first time I was in prison at 16. I got raped in penitentiary by 8 men, and just my life was very, very hard. I hated people and couldn't trust anybody. And for the next 20, 25 years, I hung out with the Hells Angels, the Banditos, and all those motorcycle gangs, and bought and sold drugs, collected money, bad debts for the gangs, and did things like that, and just lived a very, very rough and life. I would gotten some trouble out in the West Coast with the motorcycle gangs. They were infiltrated by the FBI, and I found that out and didn't want to get busted again, go back to prison. That was the last thing I wanted, so I left there and went back to the East Coast, went back to my hometown, and met a nephew of mine that I hadn't seen since he was a little baby. He was 16 years old then, and he was doing a lot of Bible studies and stuff, invited me to his house to get to know me. And the night I showed up at his house to get to know him a little bit, there was a Bible study going on, and I kind of backed away, not for me, and I had a beard down the middle of my chest and hair down the middle of my back, and told him not for me, I wasn't interested, and I started to back away, and he said, "Oh, please, Uncle Gary, I do love you and I want to get to know you. Please come in. You don't have to be part of the Bible study. Wait in the kitchen." So I went in the kitchen and sat down, drank coffee, smoked a cigarette and like that, waiting on him. And just about when I was getting sick and tired of hearing about Jesus and this, that, and the other thing, the Bible study ended, people left, and I got to speak to him a little bit. And that Bible study kind of got me interested, because on the way out the door, what I noticed was a few people that I knew that I had either gotten high with or was drinking with a couple of months before that. And it kind of got me thinking about a little bit about it. And as the months rolled on, I started going to that Bible study once a week, and did that for about a year and a half, and then got saved. It was a Bible study night, and the pastor asked if anybody wanted to get saved, and I said, I do, and gave my life to him, and my life radically changed at that moment, and God called me into the ministry immediately. Guys, give God praise and glory for what. If I'm in the ministry, a full-time prison evangelistic ministry, I go from prisons all over America. We are in Angola, Louisiana, which is the largest penitentiary in the United States. It sits on 18,000 acres. There's 5,108 inmates here right now. About 90% of those are lifers. They're going to be here for the rest of their lives. They're going to die here. We're here doing 3 days worth of revival meetings, going around the camp, talking to different inmates in the camp, just getting to know people, talking to them about Jesus, inviting them to evening services and like that during the day. My favorite stories is a few years ago, I was down here and there was a great big football game going on in Camp A, one tier against another, and they were just, I mean, rah-rah, hitting it hard, and I was walking through the institution and I'm trying to invite people to come to the meeting that night. And I walked out right in the middle of the football game, stopped the whole game. Hey, stop! And started yelling and everything. Everybody, I said, come on over here, we got to have a huddle. And all teams came over, and I told them, I said, I'm here to tell you about Jesus. And I want you to know that tonight I'll be at your church right here in camp, and I'm inviting every one of you football players to come. And quite a few of them showed up that night, The reaction to my message is very, very open. And it's because I believe that they're open because they know that I'm here to serve them. And God, I tell them all the time, and they realize that I take home from here a better blessing than I give. 4 or 5 years ago, one of the guys that I was with was going to make, have a little fun with me, and he sent me to this cell that the guy hated everybody, So I went down to the cell and told him who I was, what I was there for, and he spit on me. And I said, okay, and I left my tract there with him, and I left, and next year I came back, and, I had forgotten about it, no big deal. And the same guy, when I seen him, I remembered. Thought he was going to spit on me again or something, but he said, I read your tract, I'd like to talk to you. So we talked, and this is like 5 years ago maybe. Well, today he's a Christian. I believe that the way to a man's heart is true giving and service. And one of the things that I found out a few years back was that institutions Inmates need different ways of communication, and cards, you know, just greeting cards and Christmas cards and birthday cards and thinking of you cards and those kind of things are a great desire to have. And the money crunch system, the way it is today, most institutions are hurting for cards. And so when I go to an institution, I ask them if I can bring cards in. This institution is, they welcome them open arms. So every time I come here, I try to load up a van full of cards. And right now I got a van out there, it's got 90 boxes of cards, about 1,000 cards per box. And so, and they're all thinking of you cards and that kind of thing so that they can write messages home for any kind of occasion and stuff. And the guys really, really appreciate that. And so when they hear that, they're willing to listen to what I got to say. I think I'm uniquely qualified to deal with these guys is because I've been there. I've lived that lifestyle. And because I've lived that lifestyle, I can work with these guys and let them know what works for me and how Christ can cure all of those problems. Daily, God will bring up a memory or something from my past where I just memorization of something happening to me that caused me wounds or hurts. And I have to deal with the pain. I have to look at it and deal with it and put it behind me. And so knowing that kind of thing, I believe that that's the message I want to bring to people that are hurting. Because I know that 90% of them are hurting just like I was hurting. And God, in all His infinite wisdom, can relieve you from that and take that pain away. And that's what's great about it. That's why I think God has suited me for this kind of ministry. God talked to me about 7 or 8 years ago and said, Gary, what about when they get out of prison? What are you doing for them there? And I wasn't doing anything for them. You know, I was just giving them Jesus in the institution. And so I started thinking about it and wondering about it. And I started a halfway house for prisoners when they come out. If they have need to get further help, you know, find a job, get on their feet, that kind of thing, find a church. So I plug people into ministry in the local area where I live. I've got one house going. I've bought another house where we're in the midst of getting that started. And my hopes and dreams is to someday be able to go all around the United States and start specific Christian-based halfway houses. God, through His infinite wisdom and mercy, has brought me through different scenarios in my walk with Christ that has forced me to look at my past, look at the issues of my past, look at the rejection issue, look at the hate issue, look at the different issues that I carried around with me, and look at them and forgive people and forgive myself mainly. And so because He's done that, I know that that works because He's done it for me. Jesus is the light of the world. Pray for my ministry and really pray for it, because I know if you'll pray for my ministry, I won't have to ask you for any of your money to do my ministry because you're going to give it. I won't have to ask for it. So pray for my ministry.